We'll start, it is 3:32, so we'll call the September 29th FARGODOME Authority meeting to order. Before we get to item number 1, any additions to the agenda? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
So.
First by Dave, second by Nancy. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carried. Okay, on to number 1, approval of the August 25th minutes. I'll entertain a motion there. First by Dan, second by Mike. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Okay. Any old business to come before the authority? Hearing none. On to number 3, new business. Mr. Solar.
All right, financials reports, they're on page 3. For the month of August is the left-hand page, or left half of the page. As we talked about with the scheduled concerts, budgets, different things such as that, now we're to the point where the actual events themselves are hitting the budget as they've been postponed. So you can see that we only had $2,400 in total event income compared to a budget of $255,500, and we had indirect expenses or expenses of just about $390, which was a little better than $21,000, better than the budget of $410.5. So we had a net deficit for the month of August of $339.5 compared to a budgeted deficit of $11,600. On the event side, $234,000 of the event income loss under budget was with the 2 concerts, Maroon 5 and Guns N' Roses, being postponed to 2021. And the Fargo Marathon had originally been postponed from May to August and then did cancel at the end of July. So that ran through the budget in August of about $16,000. The August meeting room, that's where a little bit of the event revenue came from. Blues Fest did happen at Newman Outdoor Field, and so we do get a little camping revenue off of that we use for that. On the other income side, about $96,000 below budget. You can see the advertising revenue, $82,800 below budget, as we did not accrue any of the sweetened advertising for the month of August, just like we did in July, which goes to the overriding conversation we've had regarding all of that with the unavailability of the building for large events. On the expense side, about $21,000 below budget, so that's a positive. Utilities were about $15,000. We're below budget, actually more than that 15 because of timing with the purchase of a lot of the COVID-related hand sanitizer, different things such as that. August was the month we were making those purchases in. So utilities were actually more than $15,000 below budget through the management by staff. But with those extra purchases, as we worked through the grant funding for that of upwards of $45,000 for that. And then the management fee is lower than budget because of not having any events, the percentage of sales. Any questions on the month? Year to date then, not a whole lot more to say on that other than take 339.5 and add it to whatever it was before. So as you can see, overall, we're at a net deficit of about $721,000. As it would have stood, we would have been at a budget of $41,000 to the good. So it is a pretty big variance there with the deficit. Obviously, the circumstances are what they are. On the overall, on the concert side, now through August, 5 of the 6 shows have gone through. September, we'll have one more come through with the Sheriff show postponed from April to September, and now indefinitely postponed with the to be determined. Hoping to get some resolution on that sooner than later. As you know, the Elton John date has now announced its new date, but that will be in March of 2022. So there is a current refund window for that as well, for that show at Elton John, not for Share as a group. We continue to do what we can to manage our expenses as well as possible. With managing our utilities, are a fair amount below budget. I think we're running at 70-ish, 60 to 70%. Late July and August, we're closer to budget than the April, May, June months, just because we had more activity in the building with football practicing and different events here and there, so we did need to use the system a little bit more, temper the air, I should say. Questions on the financials?
Thank you.
I move to approve the financials.
First by Rick. Second by Dan.
David?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Rick?
Yes.
Nancy? Yes. Blake?
Yes.
Review of current events. Sorry, I got distracted there for a second, saw a squirrel running across. We continue to prepare for the football game, NDSU game against Central Arkansas this Saturday. Making sure everything is operating as it should. Re-cleaning the building, getting areas cleaned up. I think Bernie's even got the great flush scheduled for tomorrow. So it's been a while since our system has been used totally, so we might even do one of those, when a new building comes online, to kind of try to flush and run the toilets and sinks as much as possible at once to make sure that the system's in working order. So we'll do that again since it's been a while, just to exercise everything through that. All the hand sanitizer is up around the concourse, meeting rooms, lobby. The plexiglass shields are in place for the concession stands. Getting ready to check staffing and everything Saturday morning as well. Other than that, then going through after the game on Saturday, the big one, Arts and Craft Fair for Halloween weekend, is still scheduled, as well as the state high school football tournaments in November and the state volleyball tournament in November. The Northern Ag Association's Ag Expo, the end of November, beginning of December, has canceled their event. The Health Tech Trade and Career Fair, or Health Tech and Trade Career Fair that is put on, which basically is the area, ninth graders from all the schools come through. That has been canceled for December as well. I think that most of the schools are all restricting field trips. We're canceling a lot of those. It's really not there. Still waiting on a couple of potential December events to see what happens, and looking into January and February. Working through the constant schedule changes. If you did see, since our last meeting, the Missouri Valley has released and issued the new spring schedule for 2021. And NDSU will start at home on Sunday, February 21st. We have state wrestling through Saturday, February 20th, so we'll do a quick changeover and I'll be ready for that game on that Sunday the 21st. Then they have March 13th, April 3rd, and 17th as their home games, with the playoff schedule starting. The announcement would be that Sunday, April 18th, and then running the next 4 consecutive Saturdays, with the championship game being on Saturday, May 15th. So we'll see how all that goes. Any questions on any upcoming, past, current, future events by board members?
Did you see anything different with the security check-in Saturday?
The employees check-in, you mean?
No, for the fans.
The fans will, obviously there's a mask requirement in place by NDSU.
Or do you have scanners with it? That's all.
And the walkthroughs, As always, we discourage bags, but we're not, still not banning them as of yet. However, we're not using the divesting tables to have people put their stuff out. Basically, it's just going to be empty your pockets of the items that are necessary, hold them in your hands, and hold your hands above your head and walk through. So just that area of the walkthrough will be going off, and then going through there again. We encourage no bags to come in, but we understand that there are certain circumstances where bags do need to come in, and those are certainly necessary.
Any other questions for Rod? Okay, we'll move to B, committee reports.
Thanks. On September 23rd, the Building and Finance Committees met. So synopsis of what happened during those meetings. We approved the August 19th minutes of the Finance and Building Committees at that point in time. Susan Thompson presented the August financial statements, which Rob has reviewed for us again. The financial statements were recommended for approval, and the committees approved those. The next item that was looked at was the year-end look ahead. Susan and Rob presented a pretty significant analysis of the impacts of the COVID-19 impacts on the financials. Looking ahead, identified that likely their projected loss of $1,894,000 for the year ended 2020. There was another item looking at the look ahead was a recommendation to, one of the questions that we had was what kind of refund should we provide to the suite holders and advertisers. We addressed that 2 meetings ago as well, and Rob and Susan provided a recommendation at that point in time that everything they looked at suggested about a 60% refund of annual payments to the suite holders and advertisers. Both committees reviewed and recommended that the 60% refund be agreed to. And I think, Rob, on that, there was going to be a look at the individual, if there's any significant individual variances, you guys can address those as well.
Yeah, and that's based on the information we had last week. So, as we've learned over the last 6 months, things change rapidly. So that's our figuring right now, and but things could change. So we'll address that as well as any outliers, any outlying factors that change between now and then, or contracts.
The estimated impact of that 60% refund net of any payments due to the issue is $625,000. That's figured into the $1,894,000 loss as well. I think that's all on your end. You're looking ahead.
Sorry, Rick, I think just to clarify too, I think that $1,894,000 was the variance to budget.
Yeah, it could be about 1.6. However, that does not include any insurance proceeds. So it'd be about 1.6 is our estimate right now.
Project updates, the next item. There was a number of items here. One of the under the project updates was the protocol for the NDSU game. I think we covered that. The dressing room and catering room remodels were moving forward as planned. No significant items there, I don't think, Rob. You shared with us. And then the football turf, you updated the committees on the progress of repairs with the actual turf, and I think we talked about the fact that the turf should be good in 2022 with the improvements that are under that, there's another item, capital budget reallocation. There was some significant rainstorm drain pipes that were leaking. The cost to repair those pipes was approximately $19,000, and Rob requested to reallocate $19,000 from the 2020 budget unallocated to the line item to pay for the pipes to fix. The Finance Committee will continue that request as well. Under additional items, the Finance and Building Committees were interested in looking at the escrow reserve balances on a going forward basis more often than we have been looking at it. So we took a look at the escrow balance as of 7/31/2020 and the year-to-date performance as of 7/30/2020. There's an estimated balance of about $45,057,000 in the escrow funds. The year-to-date return is about 3.5%. In addition to that, management looked at the reduction in revenues and operations due to COVID, that there'd be some need to request funds from the reserve account, and the committees approved management to make $500,000 transfers or request up to $500,000 increments as needed for operating expenses for the year. Anything significant beyond that is sent back to the board. One other item was the Spectra Services Agreement Renewal with Spectra, where that will expire December 31st, 2020. And Rob is going to meet with Spectra to determine what the best approach would be for the monthly fee for that agreement. So I would make a recommendation to approve the Finance Committee report.
So motion from Rick, we don't need a second, given by the chair, so this roll call.
David,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Rick,
Yes.
Nancy, yes, Slate,
Yes.
Troy.
Yes. Okay, is there anything else? Hearing-
I have a question.
Yeah.
Rob, I know you covered some updates on the Bison game, but anything else that's newsworthy regarding the Bison game?
Not as of yet. You know, we still work on getting the things set up, making sure everything's in place. I think there's, right now, less than 8,200, I believe, or less, so it'll be interesting to see actually how many do utilize those tickets and show up. And right now, we're planning to.
So they will raise the banner, is that right, Troy?
Senior Day, raise the banner.
Senior Day and raise the banner. Anything else? If not, we're adjourned.